Right, can you say hello?
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to our day. So I'm just sat here and I just heard a noise. So I checked on the downstairs camera to have a look. I noticed the back door's open. So I just shouted to Sophie because she's in the bathroom, asking if she left the door open or if she shut it before she came up. She said she shut it. The noise I was hearing was the door opening because she stood on the door fob. That white and blue bit under her chin is the key for our back door. Too clever. This is the joys of part of an infection. It's literally
Flapping.
like blocking up half my airway. Like lungs disease mixed with muscular dystrophy and EDS just makes it difficult to clear it.
I don't know what to do in these situations. Well, I know what to do in these situations, but there's not much I can do in these situations. No. Hence why I'm kind of just sat here. I just sit here, sort of like worrying that she's not going to be able to get it up. She's going to fully block her airways, and then, like, I don't know.
What happens is, when I do that, I'm obviously breathing it in, but I need to try and get a deep breath to be able to do like a big cough to get it out. But when I do breathe in, it kind of, if you think of like a piece of paper, if you breathe it towards you, it kind of like sucks towards you, and it can then kind of like cup within it. And then when you try and breathe it out, it like pushes it the other way, and then cups going upwards, and then it's just like I'm coughing into a dome of phlegm, and no. And it can get quite tiring.
Did that bring up something? Not all of it though, did it?
Yeah.
Yay! I didn't show them. No. That one probably would have been gross.
There is still more in there, but it's not affecting my actual breathing right now. But that took 3 minutes just on camera, and it was going for a little while.
Yeah.
Longer before then. But God, I get so lightheaded with it, and it's just purely because it's stopping the oxygen. This infection this time round seems to be
lingering.
Yeah. I think I've got a couple more days left of anti-bugs, probably 1 or 2.
Usually by now it would have basically cleared up.
Yeah, it normally clears up by the end of week 1, and then the second week is just making sure that it doesn't come back, like, too soon, basically.
Whereas obviously it's not happened. But,
no.
But this is the bug that decided to mutate and become
resistant.
Yeah, resistant to one of the antibugs. So
yep. So obviously, if this continues much longer after the antibugs have stopped, we're gonna have to send another sputum sample to see what to do next.
Yeah, to see if it's something else or whether it's the same one just not going.
Or it could be the fact that the bug itself is gone, but because it was a resistancy one, there's still lingering gunk that just needs clearing out.
Yeah.
It can be a whole host of things.
Yep.
But it's just awful, it hurts, it's tiring, and it makes you go lightheaded. Not very nice.
No.
Goodbye. We have some jazz music playing quietly. Sophie and Albert are asleep. Dixie's asleep on the floor. And I'm reading a book and cuddling over rain. What could be more perfect on a Saturday evening? So, I've just got off the phone to my mum, and as I was saying earlier, I've got like lung diseases, and if I'm on the phone talking for too long, I get really tired because my oxygen drops so much. Oh, baby girl. But I've literally just got off the phone to Mum, and I started telling Sophie about the update with my stepdad, and I was like, I might as well just pick up the camera and tell you all together. Mum's phone, Mummy.
So cute.
What? I got an ugly lip.
Oh.
Mum's not doing great today. She's literally spoke to nobody. But I wanted,
understandable.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that the money we'd sent her had arrived, because it was a lot of money. So obviously I rang her and I wanted to just check to see how she was doing. She was crying again at the beginning. She's blaming herself for a lot of what I'm about to say. So I was just spent a lot of time trying to like remind her that like the decisions that have been made, they had been made prior to Chris having this surgery, and she just needs to remember that she didn't make these decisions like at the last minute because something bad happened. They were decided time ago. At the moment, if the sedation is weaned, he is just on oxygen through the trachea. His urea levels aren't good, which is stuff to do with the kidneys. So they mentioned that they might be doing kidney dialysis, but they've not made a 100% decision.
Was it today they mentioned that?
Yeah. They've managed to stop his blood pressure medication now because it's now rose up and is stable. His limbs have become very weak and not moving very well. Which Mum said again today, is it his myasthenia gravis playing up, because this heart condition wouldn't do it. They mentioned that they might do a CT scan just to make sure there's been no bleed or anything like that on the brain, but it's all of his limbs. So unless he had a double stroke on both sides of his brain, it's pretty obvious that it's not a stroke.
I want to know why they're so determined not to admit that it is that.
I don't know. Some of them admit that it is it, and some of them are admitting that, like, trying to say it's not. And it's like me, when I go in, my muscular dystrophy and all that flares up really bad, and my mobility decreases drastically. it's part and part of the fact that I'm so exhausted. My steroid levels are being played with, and you're sat in bed. You're not moving. Like he's been in ICU now. Well, he's been in hospital 9 days and in the ICU for 7 of them. And in that time, at least the last 7, he has been completely in bed, not moving, just being turned side to side by the nurses because he's been sedated. So that in itself will wipe out your mobility.
Yeah, it does it quite quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then obviously having a chronic illness on top, it's gonna, like, make it happen quicker and take longer to resolve. So Mum's kind of blaming herself now for saying yes for the trachea, even though they both discussed it before that he wanted it, because she's now concerned that he's not going to have a good quality of life because of being in a wheelchair and things like that. And let me hold you there before anybody says how awful that is for my mum to say that he wouldn't have a good quality of life. Many people are in a wheelchair and do everything. The reason why she is saying this is she's watched me go from being 100% normal, healthy, to being in a wheelchair and on oxygen. And like I said the other day, it hit me hard. Like, I ended up being in a mental health hospital. I was under a section. I didn't cope at all. I mean, I cope better now, but 6 years ago, like, I wanted to end everything because I didn't want to be in a wheelchair. I didn't want to have these restrictions. I wanted to be the person I was 2 years ago or whatever, like back in 2015. So she's getting upset because she doesn't want to have to watch him mentally deteriorate as well as physically, because she knows the pain of having already watched somebody else go through it, which is completely understandable.
Yeah.
But I just, literally, it was about 20 minutes of me just saying to her that even if this happens, it's not her fault. She didn't cause it to happen, and she spoke with him prior to make sure she knew everything that she was meant to do if these situations would come up.
And she's been trying to fight his corner as well.
Yeah.
Which is really hard to do against, like, medical professionals.
It's hard to do in person. She's 60 miles away as well.
Exactly.
And it is difficult because... Are you cold?
Yeah. I want it.
Yeah, I'm really hot though.
Okay. Oh, I've never experienced.
Regardless of how much you can tell somebody this is this, or they don't want to do this, they want to do this, or this is happening because of this. If you try telling a medical doctor who's like, nope, I was taught from learning in a book, blah, 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 blah. Well, everybody's not textbook.
No, exactly. And like,
I'm nowhere near textbook.
not even a little bit.
No. And if you are a medical professional and you are watching this, please know that yes, you might have the medical degree and you may have good knowledge within the medical sector, but 90% of the time, family knows best.
Particularly if it's family of people with chronic illnesses. I mean, with accidents and things that are suddenly out of the blue, fine. Family probably isn't going to know.
But when family's been living with said person for years, they know what their wishes are and their daily their daily, like, how they are every day, from waking up to going to bed and even when they're asleep.
Yeah, and I know what treatment Charlie needs when she has an asthma attack and has to go into the hospital.
Yeah. So yeah, Mum's trying to do that, but she's trying to have a brave face, and then she's panicking, like, well, if he does end up as a even like a full-time wheelchair user or part-time, they're in a tiny one-bedroom flat, and
you can't get your chair around there, can you?
I can't get my chair around there. Mum can't get her manual chair around there because she's a part-time wheelchair user. And they can, like, widen the doors, but it's the case of they wouldn't just need a wheelchair if his limbs are completely gone. They would need a hoist, and they would need all this other stuff, and they do not have the room for it.
Not even, no.
So they are in a council place, so they can widen doors and they can add extensions and stuff like that. But the chances of them doing it is extremely slim. So then Mum's worrying about whether she would have to then move, which she would do it if it means he can come home. But they've not long moved into this place, and
they've just
they spent thousands of pounds on that place. The whole garden they have turned around, the bedroom and all things like that they've changed. Like, I'm sure they probably would have spent 7, 8, 9 grand at least.
Yeah.
So,
well, they had to pay for half of the bathroom adaptations,
yeah,
didn't they? Because the council said that
they wouldn't
do
it.
Pay for it all.
So yeah, she's got then all this going through her head of like, well, she's not well. Carry on. Brown paper. This is what she does. She goes to the end of the bed where I can't really lean unless I get my phone camera. You can hear her now. Yeah. But yeah, Mum's pretty sick herself. So she's obviously now... That's what she did a minute ago. Are you getting jealous?
Yeah, I want to be on the people too. Are they looking at us better?
Yeah, they are.
Wow.
Are you gorgeous?
Yes. What's doing down there?
So yeah, Mum's panicking that she ain't going to be able to cope with moving. She ain't going to be able to afford to do everything. But equally, they won't be able to do equipment in this place. She's panicking, thinking that she's made the wrong decision going ahead with the trachea. So yeah, she's just got everything going through her head, and she's just getting upset again. And the counsellor that is supposed to be checking in regularly with her sent her a message yesterday when I was on the phone to her, saying, did Mum want any support, like, currently? Like, when did she want to be able to speak to somebody? And the email made out that it was going to be like yesterday, today, or a couple of days away. They've turned and said week Monday they can book her in next. Well, that's great, but she needs support now, and we're all the way down here. I know she's got my sister, but like we said the other day, my sister's got a little boy, so she can't do everything, and yeah, she's just all a bit of an emotional wreck, which is understandable. But yeah, there's all this going on now that she's worried about, so we still need lots of prayers and positive vibes and everything else to make sure that not only he pulls through, but my mum does as well, because if she stresses too much, her heart and God knows what else won't last. She's already had a bloody stroke and a angina attack and all things like that, so she needs to just chill out.
Which is a lot easier said than done.
Yeah. But obviously I'm going to continue trying to talk to her at least every day. She might not want to communicate back, but I'm going to at least try, and that's all we can do, really. So let's hope the weekend is okay, because hospitals don't run on full staff.
No.
Even though he's in the ICU, they do have more staff. It is still less staff. So yeah, let's just cross our fingers for a smooth weekend. But other than that, thanks for coming on, stay with us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Let us know if you yawned at all during this video.
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.